Welcome to the 2025 AIA Northern Virginia Design Awards. The Design Awards are sponsored by...
When we start out in this world, the possibilities are as endless as the night sky. Nothing is impossible. Over time, you might question, you might doubt. But at Jacobs, we always see the world as it can be. We're the curious, the brave, the optimistic, and the grounded. We keep planting the seeds of potential. We're bold enough to explore. We make connections that make the difference. We change the trajectory of how we all live, today and into tomorrow.
We seek perspectives, combining the knowledge of those before us with what we know now. And together, we're able to transform the future. We're a global team empowered to question, discover, and try. To us, everything is achievable. We collaborate, designing solutions that make life smarter, more seamless, and more sustainable for everyone.
We anticipate, calculate, and evaluate, and then act with agility and precision. We look for insights and ideas, pushing the limits of what's possible to create the standard for what's to come.
Whether it's applying our discoveries to drive the world ahead,
Ensuring the resiliency of our planet and its people,
or acting with agility to design and protect the smart places of tomorrow.
we're united in our drive to dream big. And as the world's thinkers, visionaries, and doers, we're always pushing beyond.
Courage unites us. Courageous people, ideas, clients, courageous creativity, courage to soar, to shape bold ideas, to reach for brighter futures, to change the world. Canon Design.
The world is constantly changing, and technology changes so rapidly. We feel that SMW is at the forefront of that technology change, where our staff constantly get educated on those evolving changes. And we have to advise our clients in a way to forestall the obsolescence of technology. So we were founded 30 years ago, and we've been always focused on the user experience and improving the experience that our clients have in the spaces that they inhabit.
Please welcome your hosts, Robin Hamilton, Associate AIA, and April C. Drake, AIA.
St. Louis, a city rich in architectural history, from Edler and Sullivan's Wainwright Building to Eero Saarinen's Gateway Arch. The juries gathered over 2 days in May at the offices of Canon Design. Thanks to Canon Design for facilitating this year's jury sessions. Jury 1 reviewed education architecture, civic architecture, health architecture, commercial architecture, historic architecture, and transportation and infrastructure.
I'm Anna Ives, and I'm the managing partner of Pattern Ives.
My name's Andrew Kerr-Grant. I am with KAI Design.
Joel Foose, Traverse Architecture.
Jury 2 reviewed residential architecture, interior architecture, small project architecture, and conceptual unbuilt architecture.
My name is Thomas Wall, and I am the principal and owner of Mitchell Wall Architecture and Design.
My name is Adriana Peroni, and my firm name is Adriana Peroni Architects.
My name is Nama Asinigo, and I work at Arcturus.
The jurors came to the sessions with a short list of projects and deliberated the unique attributes of design excellence for each category. Their deliberations were thoughtful and informed. We will be hearing their comments on the award winners throughout the presentation.
For us, this project represented a really elegant approach to a historical problem. Abbeys have been around for a very long time, and they've been done any number of ways. This developed the design well, using circulation, courtyards, light patterns, all the things necessary to take into consideration, and then leaving it in a very simple form. There's a fine line between the elegantly simple and the simply stupid, and I think this was straddling that but leaning towards the right direction. What made this project for us was the primary element of the design, which was that light well that went through the entirety of the building. Using this existing space and creating this form inside of it, when you look up, it kind of reminded us of what it would look like to be standing behind a torpedo as it sped away. The spinning of the blades, the churning of the water, it was all very represented there. Where we thought this project could have done a little bit more, what would have elevated it to the next level of award, would have been as if that concept was then repeated throughout other elements of the project. If it wasn't represented, and we wish we could have seen a little bit more of that. But otherwise, it was a wonderful idea, and we were very happy to see it executed.
The jury appreciated the economy of means applied to this project with a limited budget. The architect was able to completely redefine the building from the street presence and also the interior materials, and the interior spaces are just bright and light and full of carefully restrained color and texture. Makes this building feel like a place that is private and a refuge at the same time as holding a place on a streetscape that's well trafficked in the DC metropolitan area. The jury appreciated, first of all, the architect's reflection on the original architect's design, and the architects really told an amazing story of the evolution of this building and the site. We truly appreciated the way that they approached the existing building with such care and sensitivity, adding a strong element to the site, but at the same time being deferential to the original building. The lighting is incredibly well done, and the photography also is excellent.
The jury appreciated the way the architect was able to add, program, and increase the functional area for building without intruding upon the beauty and elegance of the existing IMP structure, and the balance of the new cube and garage element being set away from it so that it did not compete but complemented the original structure.
This story was very well told from beginning to end, and how the architect and client went through this journey together to find the best solution for this execution. The drawings were clear, the photography was well choreographed, really depicting well the materiality that was selected from the furniture all the way through the restoration of the original structure. So really well executed from top to bottom and well presented in the way the work was done. The jury felt that this was an excellent execution of a challenging product typology. The articulated facade done in metal was an exquisite warmth that it brought to a very harsh structure. The lighting was done in a very unique and warm way that allowed the structure to glow, particularly at dawn and dusk, and really a wonderful integration of multimodal transport with the inclusion of the bus transfer station.
The jury was collectively very excited about this project. We thought it took a mundane, usually hidden building type and transformed it into something excellent. We saw it as a group of buildings which many could have been entered individually on their own merit, and we thought it was just a wonderfully understated, beautifully executed project.
Although with each building being a separate campus and use, there's a wonderful, exquisite execution of detail that is shown in the projects themselves, from the black metal skin to the softness of the gabled building along the Meadows campus to the skinning of the garage. Each one is done and really thoughtfully and carefully executed for their unique surrounding, even though they have synthesis and shared typologies between them.
Building on the previous jury's comments, we appreciated this project for its elegant planning and detailing and interior design, as well as care and attention to the layout and program within each of the projects, and just a general lightness of form across all the different building typologies.
This project really exemplified lasting sustainable design. It's a beautifully designed passive house that is really meant to stand the test of time and is really sustainably focused. The jury found strength in its interior design more so than the other parts of the building, even though the thought was really carried out throughout the exterior, the landscaping. The jury was really impressed by the extent of detailing, the attention to aesthetics that didn't compromise the passive and sustainable aspects of the building. There were a lot of moments that were well crafted, a lot of thoughtfully designed spaces, and this is really a project on the interior aspect that is well thought through, well designed, and we felt that to be very impactful.
We felt this project deserved a merit award for its good use of existing structure combined with new form added onto the rear. We know this is a difficult thing to do effectively, and we feel like this project did a good job of using the existing form, the existing home as a starting point, and carrying it forward with good use of new space and a nice form to the rear. We also appreciate some of the detailing along the office and hallway spaces with the recessed windows. We thought that did a very good job of capturing some of the use of that space in terms of the lighting and giving it some architectural detail to the rear of the building, in contrast with the simplicity of the gabled form to the rear as well. Well done. What we really liked about this project, in particular starting from the exterior, is the detailing of the brickwork, the cornice, and the flow through the entry door into the interior of the spaces. We thought these projects did a very, very good job of connecting across the two units visually and then also physically in the interior courtyard. The spaces are well detailed, well designed, but also very restrained, allowing the occupant to bring their own style to the spaces. But in particular, I think for me, it was the exterior detailing on the front, the rounded brick, the continuation of the squared off cornice, the beautiful use of material at the center of the spaces that really stood out to me as high design, well articulated architecture.
Although each one of these projects is very unique in their execution, the jury was particularly struck on the Fitzroy project itself. Multifamily housing being a very challenging product typology to execute well. This building, particularly in the site geometry, which is challenging, coupled with topography, the way this was executed was done, very nicely in the fact of balancing a light and delicate metal articulation along with the brick massing that really is a nice blend of execution and site context for this neighborhood. This project was well done from top to bottom, and the jury appreciates the execution here.
The jury appreciated this project. It's a very clean, simple diagram, very neatly organized, and for a difficult building type of labs, it also accommodates a lot of flexibility, and our understanding this is going to be an anchor building for the reorganization of the campus, and it's an excellent beginning to that.
What stood out about this project for me was the use of the framing elements throughout the entire project. It wasn't just about framing the views through windows to the outside, but also there were frames that were built into the interior design that would be frames stacked upon frames in perspective and in really detailed and thoughtful ways.
This project was a very successful use of finding a floor plan within a difficult envelope. We thought that it did a very, very good job of giving quality space, connecting the entire primary suite around a central volume that's been removed. We also really enjoyed the detailing of the stair that goes through the middle of the project. We thought that the steelwork along the rim of the stair was very beautifully executed and with a lot of craft in how it was put together. We could see that executed in the hemming detail around the DOM steel. We thought that was a very, very nice detail within an otherwise also well-detailed space. We liked the continuation of materiality throughout the project, linking spaces like the shower to the vanity back to the bedroom. So well executed project.
This project did a great job at integrating different design elements. There was a cohesive thread carried throughout the entire project. There was a lot of thoughtful design. The fact that you walk in and there's these beautiful stairs that welcome you into the space, draw you upstairs. A lot of natural materiality, a lot of sustainable thought behind the design.
This entry, especially the lobby specifically, really spoke to me from an area of trying to create a comfortable space while still keeping it commercial and, frankly, an office building. In particular, the scene in the lobby, in the photograph, I really appreciated what was going on in the ceiling in the distance. The perforated ceiling detail allowed not only for the systems to come through, but also establishing a datum that was then repeated in the balustrade of the stairwell. It felt very comfortable overall, and I thought it was a very thoughtful design.
This entry did a really wonderful job of integrating multiple floors into singular spaces. I think it went beyond interior architecture or interior design to be interior architecture, where we're using breaking open floor plates, communicating stairs to bring multiple levels together into individual and specific spaces. I also particularly liked the view with the staircase and the woman coming down the stairs. I thought this was a great example of using green space within without it being overwhelming. I thought a lot of the detailing did a very, very good job of making the space feel warm and soft while also being very efficient with their use of materiality throughout. I could really see how each of the clusters of two floors had their own identity that was really well executed.
I did a great job at creating holistic and well-integrated spaces. I found the attention to detail, the incorporation of sustainable strategies really successful. There were a lot of individualized spaces, and yet everything came together really cohesively, and that was what was really successful about the project as a whole.
The jury appreciated the challenges presented by insertion of new lab spaces within a challenging existing building. And despite what appear to be limited floor-to-floor heights, the lab spaces are bright and open and clean. The material palette is refined, and the systems integration of new, more advanced sustainable technology alongside of the carefully organized cable trays and the limited use of color really make this an impressive renovation given the circumstances within which they had to work. So the jury wanted to acknowledge the challenges of this project and the excellences of the outcome.
The jury appreciated this modern inclusion along a historic thoroughfare. In massing, coloration, scale, articulation, the building really presents itself as a handsome modernist expression through the brick detailing, the use of glass, the plinth at the first level, the connection to the street, really makes it a welcome neighbor to the historic area that it resides, and a wonderful nonprofit program that it also houses really makes it a good neighbor to the entire part of this town.
The jury liked this project. We appreciated the simple plan, the way it was transformed into a very well articulated exterior which captured the sort of Gothic part of the campus but married it with clean modern lines. So it was restrained and beautifully executed exterior, and we liked the project for it deserved a citation.
The jury appreciated the human scale of the structure and the expression of the interior and exterior spaces with natural materials. The interior spaces are full of light and full of vibrant life, with the programs connected across one another. The shared collective space at the center activates a community for the students, and you're able to view into the various parts of the program through carefully curated windows and cuts in the interior plan. We felt this program and the scale of this building really felt like a welcoming and warm place to learn and build community.
For a small project, an area, the jury felt this was exquisitely done from top to bottom, particularly within an existing shell as a renovation space of an existing theater. To be able to transform it into what it is from what it was is truly remarkable. It's really unrecognizable from the original images that where they once started to what it is today.
The jury appreciated the historic references in the detailing solutions, and the clarity and simplicity of the overall expression of the spaces really reflects the amount of time and care that was taken to consider systems integration and lighting integration in a challenging environment of an auditorium space, including acoustic treatments and changes in planes required to make the spaces work. We also appreciated the clear material palette and the elegant wayfinding that was resulted from the final design solution.
The jury also appreciated, in addition to the wonderful renovation of the auditorium area, the cleanliness and simplicity and exquisite detailing of the support spaces, which are restrained and elegant and just wonderfully executed. And we thought this was overall a great transformation of a dilapidated, out-of-date auditorium into a wonderful new auditorium space to be appreciated by the students.
What we liked a lot about this project were the interior spaces. There was a lot of thoughtfulness given to how materials connected. The floating end cap of the island in the kitchen, for example, was a nice little touch. It would have been very easy to have that connect and continue to the bottom. But they have this nice little reveal that makes it very much individual.
We thought this project was a successfully executed addition and renovation. When looking at the exterior photos, it is very hard to see what was existing and what was new. And compared to how the building was before the intervention, I think that's a very successful example of how to execute a renovation in a way that makes a cohesive building when you're finished. The presentation did a very, very good job of explaining to the jury what was done, some of the challenges that were likely being faced during this renovation and addition process. We also particularly liked the materiality in the open living space, the plate steel, the use of a fireplace or a firebox instead of a built-in fireplace, the datum of where the steel breaks and turns to wood. Also, I think we very much liked the exterior deck expression and how that was a very, very good use of space that separates the existing from the new without making it feel too disjoint. So, well done project.
What made this project intriguing is the fact that it restored an existing building and then added onto it, rather than just replacing or recladding. It really embodied what was already there, and the addition was a continuation rather than a tack on, and that was really beautifully done. The entire project is cohesive. The fact that the new addition, it related quite well to the existing building, but
I loved everything about this design. I looked at it and immediately wanted to go inside of it. The use of the bright red color in this expansive green landscape, complementary colors working off each other to create an exposition of a home that you can see from miles off. It plays off the tropes of childhood simplicity in its design. The elevations of this house could have been something that, my 10-year-old drew on a piece of paper and crayon, and we have it up on the refrigerator. It's that brought to life, and it's that innocence and simplicity that really makes this project such a standout design for us. The spaces are controlled and confined, but then they have these bursts of openness. Openness that, were this situated anywhere else, would create a voyeuristic element where people were watching you live your daily life. But because you are so secluded, the architect took advantage of that situation and created these almost displays of human living. Bravo on this one.
Where this project excelled for me was in its use of form, in bold use of form. The architect was not afraid to let the form and the shape of these buildings individually stand on their own and work together as a cohesive unit of buildings. I particularly enjoyed the front elevation. I think that it was, again, very bold, very strong choice to leave that elevation bare in the front. And I think that it does a better job that way of creating a larger composition over the three individual structures. I also particularly like the use of gravel, the concrete retaining walls holding this space up, the carport. All of these moves are very intentional, very beautiful, and very strong.
This building is a beautiful rendition of a modern take on a vernacular farmhouse. It is simple yet well-crafted, subtle yet bold. There's no wasted part or element to this building. It's all part of the design. The bold use of color, contrasting the natural landscape was a really nice touch. The fact that the relationship between the interior and exterior spaces, the views in and out of the space, every aspect of this project was really well thought through. Every aspect of the space was really well thought through, and that was really what made it shine, the simplicity.
Having a project where you're programming vacant land ready for the redevelopment is really an intriguing thought that the jury thought was a great thing for us to be thinking about as architects and designers. Thinking about a site that's not ready for development and creating some life and energy there until it's ready for redevelopment is really an intriguing question that we can be thinking about, and how this structure could be taken down and put into another place that's ready for redevelopment once that redevelopment happens. So that's really an interesting topology for us to be thinking about.
The jury appreciated the heavy timber structure, the kit of parts, and nature of this. It almost looks like a beautifully designed architectural model transformed into real life. We also appreciated the shots showing the community coming together and using the space, and it actually acting as a magnet to draw the community together.
The jury appreciated the economy of means applied to this project, the idea that every part of this can be reused and then rebuilt somewhere else, but also applied very elegantly. And even though this is something temporary, someone has taken such care to create a beautiful place. And the value of beauty in our community just draws people together and shows the real investment of the people that have conceived of this project and executed this project. And just as a typology for architecture in America, the jury commends this entire project team for their work on this. The jury appreciated the restrained architectural expression of the program of this project. We loved the story of the vernacular, the way the materials were conceived of, and the incredibly simple and clean detailing of all aspects of the work. You can feel that these are community spaces meant for action and movement alongside of the water, and judging by the size of the parking lot, there are certainly, it looks like, a lot of people who are going to be using this site. It takes a lot to make a simple building of this type, and we really appreciated the care and attention to detail for the simplicity and beauty of this.
The jury appreciated the way this building related to the site and was part of the overall landscape. The structures harmonized beautifully, and there were the materiality of the various buildings all related to each other and carried the theme right throughout the park. And it was a simple project, very beautifully executed.
It really is a wonderful expression of the buildings within the landscape, but also how they were presented all together in the presentation, really making a cohesive connection between the structures. The diagramming was clear and clean. The drawings were obviously very clear and clean in that regard as well, not to mention the iconography and the other material components that really were illustrated in the presentation. Really was indicative in the thought and care that went into the buildings themselves.
The jury appreciated this project. It's a large building, essentially a storage building, which is being handled very delicately with the screen facade, and the big master plan is simple and elegant, and it helps to bring life to a rundown neighborhood. It's restoring the neighborhood. It's it was weak. But.
The jury appreciated the way the architects used massing and materiality to break down a large form and spread it out across what looks to be a large site within a lower scale building neighborhood. It would have been completely possible for this building to be quite tall and overwhelm the adjacent structures, but instead it feels welcoming and illuminated and a good neighbor to the adjacent structures.
We also appreciated the simplicity in the plan diagram, accommodating the change in the geometry as well for this program. In addition to the AIA framework and design, an 80% energy reduction for a 100-year lifespan building will certainly pay its dividends to the state of Pennsylvania, and appreciate the architects taking that seriously for the design of our environment.